Speaking of Mustangs, we watched Lord of the Rings, which has a horde of it.
That was a stretch.
This is so stupid. You're like, go. Yeah, I totally made that up. We need to find a new game. I don't mean that to trick you. I'm just like, that's surprising.
That's exactly what it's meant for. I like it when it's just, there's a bad guy and he's bad. Just eat cheese.
Man.
Yeah. This is a good morning on this particular morning. A little nipply out. I mean, nippy. I can't breathe.
Really? Oh, wait.
I'm not that in. Magic chair.
So, Brandon, what did you think of WandaVision Season 2, the movie?
So that's where I think that is where our why our opinions are so different is because WandaVision was so bad for me.
Yeah.
This was like 3 times better than what WandaVision was trying to do.
Oh, I agree to that for sure.
Like, I will say, before you even say it, I know everybody was thinking it.
Yeah.
Dear God, those child actors were bad.
Oh my God.
They're so fucking bad.
Oh my
Like,
God.
oh, we love you, Mom. God.
I mean, were they the same from WandaVision?
Yeah, same actors.
I feel like they did better in WandaVision, but I don't again, I was not into that show, so I wasn't paying attention that hard. But
You saw the last episode, right?
I saw the first 2 and the last one. So let's just state kind of our individual thoughts of the movie, even though it seems pretty obvious, but just so that it's out. I'm curious what your thoughts were about it, like as in what you did, if you liked it or not.
Especially more recently, for movies, I tend to look on the I hardly pay attention to any of the bad things most of the time until after the movie, and then I go, oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
Right.
And most of the time, I need someone to point it out for me.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That means you actually enjoy movies that you go see.
Yeah, like I enjoyed the hell out of Man of Steel, but I'll admit that was a pretty stinker story.
Yeah.
But I think that this movie kind of falls in a similar place where there's a lot of points in the production where I'm like, ooh, that was kind of cool. Or, even a lot of the effects were actually pretty good.
Right.
For the most part.
Yeah, totally.
And I said this to my parents and Jack, who went with me to the movie. I was like, Sam Raimi really wanted to make another Evil Dead movie.
Yes.
So my God! He really just wanted to make another Evil Dead movie.
Oh my! I was telling my dad, and we're gonna do spoilers on here, but this is not necessarily a specific huge spoiler. But me and my dad went, and I was sitting next to him, and I was just like, Dad, this feels like a crappy horror movie, or not a crappy horror movie, like a cheesy horror movie. I was like, literally, I asked him, I was like, are we watching Evil Dead? Because I'm like the Ash was in this movie, the actor, Ash from Ash versus the Evil Dead. I was like, I feel like we're watching the Evil Dead.
Yeah, I felt like it.
Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, okay. So you did enjoy it though.
Yeah. I say I think I would.
Okay.
But
yeah. That's good. I'm glad. I'm movies in it. As an industry are entirely up for interpretation. You know what I mean? I am not necessarily saying that this is the way you are with this movie, but I fully admit that Suicide Squad, the original, was trash. That movie was hot garbage, and I loved every second of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that being said, for this movie, I'll say this, if it wasn't Marvel, I was telling my dad, I was like, if this wasn't an MCU movie, I would have walked out.
Damn.
I was like, not only was I not really enjoying myself, but I was like, I don't know how to explain it other than I was frustrated at the movie. It wasn't necessarily that it was
I'm curious to know
bad.
The specific scene that when you first started feeling that.
Yeah.
Like, what was the exact scene where you went, "Oh no, this is the movie that I'm watching"?
When Wanda turned evil. Like
when Wanda. Okay, I see what you mean.
That wasn't specific. Like it was that.
Like the orchard.
So it wasn't the orchard. It was when she started attacking the sanctuary. So yeah, now we're into spoilers, but when she started attacking the sanctuary, and it was just like there was a shield, and then like they rounded up everybody, and then I thought it was cool and kind of creative that she could just sneak up behind somebody and whisper in their ear and just be like, "Run," and then he was tricked. Like I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, but that's what set the grounds for me in my expectation of like, okay, wait a minute, this is not what I expected. And then as the movie unfolded, I was constantly, my expectations were just dropping. It just continued to drop all the way to the end. And like when we left, I told my dad, I was like, there was no real stakes in this movie.
What were the stakes exactly?
Because
it's not like they were okay. Well, spoilers, I guess, because it's the whole movie. I don't know who we're defending here, but anyway. But like the whole plot was like they were trying to keep Wanda from getting this girl's powers, and because you could just open up different multiverses with it, which is fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
But what's the big deal with her having those powers?
Right.
Or were they just defending her life? Was that literally the only stake? Was this girl's life? Which I guess that's noble, but good Lord. I mean, the first scene, like with Defender Strange, like I feel like he had probably the better idea overall.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just like, every time they ran into a problem, it was very easily resolved. Every time. And I'm just like, wow, you're not leaving this up for any suspense or, a continual kind of thing. Like, again, every issue was resolved relatively easily. And you're just like, okay, well then why did it matter? Why did that even happen?
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the movie, I felt like it was moving at like 100 miles an hour. Like,
Jesus, at least.
It felt so rushed. Like she came into the picture and, he jumped off of the balcony from the wedding, started fighting the monster. And then as soon as that fight was over, I was like, okay, maybe we can get some explanation now. And it was just like, hey, my name's America. I'm from the multiverse. Here's a problem. Here's what we need to do. Here's where we got to go. Let's go. Go do it now. Here we go. I'm just like, hold on. Who the fuck is she and why do we give a shit? I'm like, yeah. Why does she matter? Like, and why are you just accepting of the multiverse like this, from this kid? It's like, you have not seen her use any powers. You have not, she's just saying these things. It just like, again, it was like little to no stakes. But yeah, that was kind of when she started attacking, that was kind of the moment that I was like, okay, my expectations are no longer valid.
I think what I took from that was like, like before they ever made these movies, the plan was to have Spider-Man as the last multiverse movie, like the big one. Mm-hmm. And then they had to change things around. So Spider-Man was the first one. And they decided not to make this one the big multiverse movie like it was originally planned. Mm-hmm. But they still kept a lot of the story elements. Yeah. And that's the first thing I noticed was like, oh, Jesus, how are they going to pack all of that into like an hour and 45 minutes? Right. Because this movie was like really short for a Marvel movie.
Oh, yeah. I think it was only like, 2 hours and 6 minutes in runtime?
Yeah. It was not long. I guess they had to feel like they had to move at 1,000,000 miles an hour just to fit in everything.
Totally.
Plus, they switched directors and writers, and they went back for reshoots.
Yeah.
So I can't fully blame Sam Raimi for the problems this movie has.
No. And I like what you said last night when I texted you, because it's true. This is a Sam Raimi movie. You're watching a Sam Raimi movie. it
This is one
totally
of the
feels
ones
that
that
way.
where the quips didn't actually bother me that much because I was like, oh, this is just how Sam Raimi movies are.
Yeah. Well, and that was my issue is like I walked into this, I knew Sam Raimi was the director, but it didn't even cross my mind. I was like, it doesn't matter who's directing, it's an MCU movie. You know what I mean? And so I walked into that with the mindset of like, it's MCU, here we go, Avengers, let's do this. And then it was like, oh my God, we're watching The Evil Dead. You know? I
I
was
really
like,
wanted
oh,
Bruce Campbell's character to say groovy this one time.
yes, I know.
That's
I
so
was
well
kind of
done.
hoping he would at the end. But I did
Did you
like the
stay for
final. I
the
did like the one. Yeah,
Did
oh
you
yeah,
stay for the post credit?
yeah. When it comes to MCU movies, even if it's trash, I'll stay. You know, like
Right.
that's what I
Yeah.
was saying. Like I would have left if it wasn't, but because it's MCU, even if it's if I think it's bad, I'll do it. You know. Um.
My biggest complaint with this movie is like it didn't set up anything, and like I know it's not
Right.
exactly what makes a movie good,
Yeah.
but this is an MCU movie, mind you. Like they marketed it as like the biggest MCU project that'll probably ever exist, and now it's like
I
it led to
know,
jack shit.
bro. The advertisements made this seem like. I mean, they kind of had to because they're coming off of No Way Home, but it's just like I don't know. Like I was like, this was so like I kept comparing it to Thor: The Dark World. You know, I was like, these movies kind of are similar in the sense of it's characters we love and it's cool to watch and it's another story based on these characters, but this has nothing to do with anything really other than with Thor: The Dark World, it was like, oh, the red matter, which is the reality stone, like that kind of had to do with the grand scheme, you know. And with this, I would say the grand scheme is a multiverse, so that kind of makes sense. But and I
Right.
will say this, the hot like my favorite part of this whole movie, spoiler alert, was John Krasinski. That was my favorite part of the whole movie.
God damn, my theater lost their shit.
Oh yeah, no, mine did too. Everybody was applauding
And for Professor
for
X,
everything.
obviously.
Right. Oh yeah, the whole line of people.
Yeah,
Everybody
even
was
for
like,
Black
woo!
Bolt, like that surprised me. That was the one thing I did not expect to happen. They
Yeah,
brought back the same actor from the really shitty Inhuman show.
yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I feel like he deserved it because the show wasn't his fault.
Right. No,
But holy
totally.
hell, that shocked me.
Mm-hmm.
His death scene.
Oh, that was so cool.
I did not think they would go that way.
I know. I didn't need it. Then that's why I liked it, because I was like, oh, thank God it's not stupid and corny, and I saw it coming. you know. And I loved Carter being Captain America. Like I was like, man, that's cool. Kind of pulled from the What If show.
Yeah, that was dope.
I thought that was really cool.
A really funny moment in the theater when that whole lineup was happening. There's like Captain Carter was like, woo! And then they showed the other guy, or Black Bolt, whoa! And then Professor X and the other Krasinski.
Yeah.
And then that variant of Captain Marvel. And everybody was dead silent, except for one guy in the very back who's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It was so loud compared to the silence of the room.
Okay.
All right.
It's better than Brie Larson, that bitch.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's great. I thought the same. I was like, that's a great lineup, except for I don't really care about Captain Marvel that much. Like as a character. But
yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, this is, overall, I thought it was a bad movie. Or a bad MCU movie.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you want to watch it like you're watching The Evil Dead, then it's great. As far as the type of movie, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
It's always up for interpretation. I'm not saying it, by definition, it's trash, but I
will
very
say
much
I've
did
just
not
seen
like
worse. I will say that.
Right? No, 100%
From the MCU, sadly.
Yes. No, absolutely. I mean, I will say this though. I would rather watch Captain Marvel, like with the Brie Larson one. I'd rather watch that movie than this movie.
Damn.
And the main reason is just because the Captain Marvel movie felt more like an MCU movie. You know what I mean? Like it felt more like
okay.
like what we all know and love kind of deal. And I'm not like, I keep going back to that, and if that was like the intention, that they were trying to not make it like an MCU movie, then it would be a completely different story. but all the
I think that
advertisements.
was kind of the intention for the most part, but I don't think they wanted to necessarily market it that way.
Yeah, yeah,
Just because everyone goes to what they know.
right.
But I think what they wanted to do is be like, because they marketed this from the very beginning, which was this is going to be different because it's going to be the MCU's first horror movie,
Mm,
and they were right. It definitely was,
yeah,
but maybe it wasn't exactly how they thought it would turn out,
right.
or maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. And my dad was saying this too. He like the first half of the movie, he was like, "This feels like a Disney Plus show. Like this does not feel like an
Oh, that's
MCU
rough.
movie."
That's rough because it's true.
Yeah, I was like, and I agree. Yeah, totally. I was like, this does it. You can compare it to WandaVision because of the characters and everything, but take that out, it still felt like just a Disney Plus show. You know, and then as the movie continued, I kept going back to the like, what is this? Like I just couldn't get over it because I was like, I didn't like the quips. I didn't like I didn't like the stuff that people probably really enjoyed because it's Sam Raimi. You know what I mean? Like I loved obviously the special effects and everything. That was cool. I like Doctor Strange. Like I like how the magic, the fighting, like I like that stuff. It's super cool to watch, and they did a
Oh
good
yeah.
job. But, the when I say cinematography, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the way that they shot like the what do you want to call it? Like the best example I can give is that there was a part where I think it was when they were arguing, like when Doctor Strange was captive talking to the Illuminati lineup, and it
Oh
kept
my
it
god,
kept
I think I know what you're
switching.
talking about.
It kept switching between all the different faces and everything, and it zoomed in, like it would start out a little wide, and then it would very ever so slightly, but it'd still be obvious. It would zoom into their face a little bit when they got dramatic, but they constantly were dramatic, and so I was like, zoom one, zoom two, zoom three, zoom four. I counted up to 6 zooms in a row. I was like, what the hell? What? And that's where I was like, this is the Evil Dead. What is this? This is 100% story, like plot hole, whatever you want to call it. Like me and my dad both walked out. We got into the car, and like we were talking a little bit about it, and then I stopped, and he was like our brains must have been linked because he immediately knew exactly what I was about to say. Because I was literally like, you know what? Nobody fucking won. She just decided to stop. Like Doctor Strange didn't win. The girl didn't. I mean, I guess you could say she, figured out how to control her powers, kind of, but it was like she didn't earn that. She just Doctor Strange decided to be an emotional support, animal or whatever for 5 seconds, and then and then she was like, "Yeah, you're right. I can do it," and then did it. But then, Wanda, it was just like, you know, I don't care. I'm going to kill all these innocent people. I don't give a flying, whatever. And then it's like, oh, my kids are mad at me. Oh, I need to change. I'm going to stop. And then she just stopped. And then she killed herself. And it's just like, what? Whoa, what? Like that.
And even then, you're not really even
What?
sure if she killed herself.
Right, exactly. It was just a flash of red, like a flash of her red mist power, whatever. So she totally could have just teleported somewhere. But still, I'm just like, I don't. It just felt so dumb. Like, just such a dumb way to end it. I don't, you can say whatever you want about this, the director, like, it's a Sam Raimi movie. Even for a Sam Raimi movie, I was like, that was stupid. Like, it just, yeah, like that. That's probably my biggest gripe is I'm just like, not only was there no stakes, but nobody won. So it's like, it was a big waste of time. Not like my personal time to watch the movie, but like it was a waste of Doctor Strange's time to be fighting this. It was a waste of Wanda's time to be pursuing the girl. It was a waste of like all those dead people in the alternate universes. Like, why did this matter? Why did everybody die?
I was thinking the entire time, like, when is Wong gonna die? Because I really expected him to go like during this time.
Yeah.
And nothing ever really came of that either. Like,
no.
I thought there would at least be some kind of growth between him and Strange, because he's like the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right.
Now that Strange kind of died beforehand, it was complicated, but
yeah,
nothing even came of that.
Yeah.
Like, nothing really changed from the beginning to the end of the movie when you think about it.
And I'm not gonna lie, Wong's character felt out of place in the sense that I didn't really feel like he was himself, like from the other movies. You know what I mean?
Well, he didn't play like hardly an important role at all.
Right. And that's what's funny. He didn't, but he was in it a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was in the movie for a good chunk, but it was just like, what, your lines, like normally he's pretty funny with the quips, like he's normally pretty funny with the clapbacks and everything. And I was just like, that wasn't that funny. Like what you said wasn't really that funny. And then he would do something and I'd be like, okay, I don't understand why. It felt out of place. That's the best way I can explain it.
There was one line from him that like Jack and I died at, because it wasn't even supposed to be funny. But like when Wanda is like mind controlling one of the people, like one of the sorcerers, and he screams to everybody, "Fortify your minds."
Oh yes.
I was like, what the fuck does that mean, bro?
I know. I did. I thought that was funny too. But it was stuff like that was just like, why this is not you, like you're not normally this way. But
what do you think about the first post-credit sequence?
Oh, where he's got the third eye? And like
that was weird for starters. I was like, wait.
And then it was that the chick from the Eternals?
No, that was another thing. I had no idea who that character was until after the movie.
I thought that was the Eternals. What?
No, that's not. That's a completely new character.
Who's the actress?
I can't pronounce her name, but she plays in one of my favorite movies, Mad Max Fury Road.
Right. No, I recognized her. I'm gonna look it up. But yeah. So who is she?
The character is actually Dormammu's niece in the comics, and she's like, she's not really good, not really evil. I don't know shit about her, I'll be honest, but
yeah.
So that was kind of okay for me, but like I don't feel like that actually led into anything.
Yeah.
Like, is that actually leading to a sequel, or what's important about this exactly?
Man.
Because I wish that would have been like, oh, you remember that multiverse that you went to where all the fucking Illuminati are dead?
Mm-hmm.
There's a power vacuum there. It's something to that extent. That would have at least led to more stories, at least.
Right.
Maybe in a Fantastic Four type of shit.
Yeah, totally. I just, I can't. I did like, and again, I was expecting, like what you were saying, I was expecting a setup,
anything
and I'm like, I guess you could call that a setup, but it's not really a setup for anything I care about. Now I want to ask you this before we finish up here. What did you think about the main female lead, America Gomez, or whatever her name was, America
Chavez,
yeah. What did you think about her character, her story, her history, everything?
I felt like she probably had more character in the comics and everything. Like, she was mainly made for like a diversity quota.
Oh yeah,
I think
100%. Same. I mean, I felt that way as soon as they introduced the moms.
But she was still far more interesting in the comics than she was in this, mainly because like we actually knew what was going on.
Right. Yeah.
I think if this movie didn't have her, they could have written it a lot smoother, I guess.
Yeah.
Just have a little less going on, and
right.
There's just too much going on to fit into like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, yeah, I mean, obviously I agree. Like I don't know a lot about her character, but I know that she was very popular in the comics. And
Yeah.
so when people like when she said her name, there were people in the theater that were pretty excited. Um and I was like, okay, this could be cool. But then like again the whole time I was like, this actress sucks. Like she is not doing
I
a
didn't even
good
notice that.
job at all. I like it just felt like her emotions felt forced. It was just very obvious that she was acting. Like
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I don't
That
know how
first
else to
beginning
describe
scene
it.
is where I started to notice a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like that Strange starts taking her power. She's like, "Oh no, what are you doing?"
Right.
And then that fucking beast is chasing her, trying to eat her alive or something. And I kept thinking to myself, that's got to be the most terrifying thing you could ever experience.
Right.
Like an unknown monster attempting to do whatever to you. But at even her movements, like when she like started jumping across like
Yeah.
obstacles and everything, there
Yeah.
was not any sense of oh shit, I'm being chased. It was like jump to this, jump to that,
Right.
land. There's actually like a 2 second like shot of her just in that pose after she landed,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, just run!
Right.
Like, what are you
Oh
doing?
my gosh. I have to bring this up. The fucking scene where they're in the sewers or whatever, wherever the fuck they are, and the doors are closing, and Wanda just keeps breaking through them, breaking through them, breaking through them, and then the one door shuts, and she doesn't break through it, and they stand there for fucking like 4 minutes.
I was like, you're go!
Literally, everybody in my theater was like, "Go!" What the like? I had one guy in the back who was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Yeah, like it's just like, yeah, literally. What are you guys? You're just waiting for her. And then not only that, but like the cinematography in that scene, they'd zoom in on one person's face and then zoom in on where Wanda's supposed to be, and then zoom in on another person's face, and then at that moment, like in that moment, I was like, Evil Dead. She's gonna pop out. It's gonna be a stupid, cheesy jump scare. She's gonna pop out, and then it happened, and I was like, called it. And then it was like, it's just so dumb. That whole fucking scene was so dumb. Yeah.
I think I didn't notice anything really bad about this movie until afterwards, mainly because I was expecting a very specific character to show up. And me thinking that character was going to show up, I thought this is what's going to make this movie really interesting.
Yeah.
And that character is Superior Iron Man, who is a part of the Illuminati. And I kept thinking, it feels like there's somebody missing in this lineup of the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
So this version of Iron Man that I'm referencing, basically, it's an alternate version of Iron Man if he let his ego win. To the point where he was like a full cyborg and everything, and there wasn't much that he couldn't do.
Wow.
And even in one of the panels, he brought back Daredevil's sight.
Whoa.
Because he could. And that's the point in the comic where you think, oh, that's cool. He did that. He didn't need to do that. That's nice of him.
Yeah.
And Daredevil's just looking out the window, just seeing the sun for the first time in God knows how long.
Mm-hmm. And
there is Iron Man standing behind him, fully suited up. And he's like, Tony, this is wrong. Like this is immoral. You shouldn't be playing God. He's like, that's the thing, Matt. I've been playing human. And that's just where the comic ends. And you don't hear from Daredevil ever again.
Wow. That's cool.
So that's just a version of Iron Man I thought would be in this movie. And that I thought that was going to be the twist, was that Wanda wasn't actually the main villain behind everything, and that was going to be him.
That would have been a much better movie.
That would have reflected against the Iron Man we know really well. Like, how bad could it have gotten?
Right. Oh my gosh, man, that would have been great. The budget would have been way higher though, because Robert Downey Jr.
Well, I was actually going to say, people were saying Tom Cruise was going to play him, which I thought would have been perfect because
that actually would.
Because so many people are sick of Tom Cruise and his bullshit. There's like, you'd make a great like asshole character.
You know? Yeah. Hey guys, as I'm editing this, I realized that there was one more thing I wanted to point out. And this is just kind of more of a statistical thing. But basically, I just wanted to point out the Rotten Tomatoes sort of percentages ratings for this movie versus some of the other movies that Marvel's made that aren't that great. Just to kind of prove my point that even the critics and the audience would all agree that this movie was not what I would call up to par with MCU films. For this movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, tomato meter, which is the critics, is a 75%, and then the audience score is an 87%. Now, neither of those are bad scores. So this movie definitely is more appreciated and more liked by more people than some of these other movies, but still, that ratio, that difference in numbers, 75% and 87%, is 9. So there's 9% in between that's differing. So if you come over to the Thor: The Dark World, obviously this rating is drastically different, right? But it's Rotten Tomatoes. And so as of today, and this could change, but as of today, it is 68% tomato meter and 75% audience score. Now, that's 10. That's 10% of a difference between the audience and the critics. Now, if you come over here and if you look at Infinity War, right, the difference in numbers is drastically different. The tomato meter for Infinity War is 85%, while the audience score is 91. Now, simple math there, that's 6%. So it's definitely a lot less. Again, these numbers are not set in stone, so they change all the time, but it's a pretty accurate description of how people feel in the moment of a lot of these movies. And since, Doctor Strange just came out, I just wanted to make that known. Even though a lot of people's opinions are going to be different about this movie, it's pretty understandable, just based on the statistics, that this movie is not as good as the other MCU movies. So for the people out there that are saying that this is the best MCU movie out there, or that this is going to redefine the way Marvel does movies, which I've seen more than 10 articles that have a title like that, I would say you're wrong, just based on the statistics. If you guys agree or disagree with me, I would love to know. Feel free to message me on Instagram, on our podcast's Instagram, which is Talk This Way Podcast. If you really want to get into it on maybe an episode, I would not mind having an additional pocket review talking about this. Again, mostly because I was just surprised by this movie at how bad it was, in my opinion. So I honestly would love to talk about it more, just to help understand why people are liking it, and then also to help people that are set in their ways to kind of hear what my point of view is as far as, what makes a good movie, and what qualifies as a good MCU film. Because until we can understand that, then we can't agree on anything when it comes to qualities of movies. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. While I was editing it, I also realized that me and Brandon kind of never signed off, so this is me signing off. Thank you guys for listening, and I really, really appreciate any feedback that you give me. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe, and follow us on all the different podcasts platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one.